Welcome back to TarHeelIllustrated.com. Today we have you covered with another daily drop. I am Bryant Balcom and he is publisher Andrew Jones. And the subject of today's daily drop is UNC football and specifically the first year under head coach Bill Belichick. And what are some fair expectations for the first year of the Belichick era? First, let's dive into UNC's football schedule to just see who their opponents are. To help kind of set these expectations when it comes to his first season at the helm for the Tar Heels. UNC opens up its season at home against TCU, travels to Charlotte, hosts Richmond, then travels to Orlando to face off against UCF, begins ACC play on October 4th against Clemson, before traveling across the country to play at Cal, hosts Virginia at home, travels to Syracuse, hosts Stanford, then it makes a short trip to Winston-Salem. They host Duke in Chapel Hill November 22nd, and they close out the regular season on the road against NC State. So, AJ, what are some first-year expectations and fair expectations for UNC under Bill Belichick in his first season?
If we're going strictly wins and losses, it's kind of hard to say because we don't get any access. We don't know who's doing what. We have a fair idea who's doing what, and we have a pretty fair idea of what the personnel is now that we're at this point. But it's this is a real hard one. This is the toughest one maybe in a long time when you're just looking at straight wins and losses. I'm going to go add another couple of prongs to this question. What's a fair expectation with respect to the progress of the program?
Yeah.
Is there effort to build a foundation of something that spawns more stuff after this season? Or is Belichick looking at this as, let's get the most out of this right now, everything else be damned because maybe I won't even be here? You have to throw that out there because a lot of people speculate.
Yeah.
I haven't publicly speculated on it because I don't really know. There is no reason for me to believe that he won't coach the minimum 3 years that's part of that deal, and then the other 2. There's no reason for me to believe that he won't because there's nothing that I have heard from anybody that I've talked to that suggests that that's the case. There's not one credible person that has ever said to me in any capacity, be it text message, on the phone, in person, that, look, he's really only here a year. I know there's speculation, but people that would know, people that have tentacles in the right places that might know or are close enough to possibly know. I've not heard that once. So I'm going to approach this as if he's building, as if 2025 is a bridge to 26, which is a bridge to 27, then he'll reevaluate. If that's the case, I think, and did you say the reasonable expectations? I think a reasonable expectations is 8-4, which is a Mac Brown year. And people hated Mac for going 8-4, 7-5. They won't hate Belichick for doing it because he gets a pass for a lot of things that Mac would get criticized for, and that's because there's optimism now because he's the greatest coach of all time. They now have the book is closed on Mac. It didn't fully work the way they wanted it to or the way Mac wanted it to. With Belichick, there's all this optimism. There's this massive empty road ahead. It's Route 66 and there's no one else there. And how far and how fast can he go? That's what people want to know, and they expect him to be at warp speed, to be honest with you. So I think fair expectation with this schedule would be 8-4. If you think about what we believe we know is the personnel, I think 8-4. 8-4 overall, that would be outside the league. We're talking 3-1 outside the league, so that would make them 5-3 in the league. I know that UCF struggled last year, but that's not an easy place to win. They got a new coaching situation where they're going back to the past a little bit to get that thing going again. I could see that being a loss if Carolina's in the building stage. They could lose at home to TCU. Their national title game 2 years ago. Then you think about the other 2 non-conference games will be fine. The ACC ones that are really, really troubling, and we're not doing a schedule thing here, but we're doing an expectation thing. Clemson is going to be very difficult for them to beat. It's going to be very difficult for them to win, I think, at Syracuse. It's going to be very difficult for them to win NC State until they prove they can. and really go out to Cal. Cal lost a lot of guys in the spring portal. I don't know what their situation is. Hell, Ron Rivera might even be the coach by then. That's a really weird situation that they got going on out there. Justin Wilcox has done a decent job, and they may lose at home to somebody else. So 5-3. Okay, let's say they lose to Clemson, State, and at Syracuse. They go 5-3 in the ACC. 8-4. 8-4 with a damn good 2026 recruiting class. And I will consider December part of this season because there's a bowl game and the portal, and that's still part of this window. So a good portal. You usher a few more guys out, and if you go 8-4 and they're on TV and get a lot of positive attention, they're going to get some pretty good guys to come in, and the money will certainly be there. When the people in power see that, okay, this is he can handle college football. He can handle how the difference is. He's adapted well, and he's really got this thing ready to go because Lopez has a good year and he'll be back and all that kind of stuff. I could see him getting a ton of money to spend and using it wisely and going out and getting a little more star power because they filled in a lot of cracks and building toward a really, really good 26 season. So long answer, but that's what I think is a reasonable expectation for this season.
And that's just looking at the kind of notes I took before. And I had 8-4 as the record. I think that is a fair expectation. And what you could consider a successful first season. And you also mentioned it's like kind of how you get there and the way that UNC performs with the world of the transfer portal and how many things have changed. Granted, every other program deals with those kind of issues. There's so much uncertainty of just how do we know what to expect? And you mentioned we don't have the access. We haven't really seen them as much, maybe as in years past, to form those expectations of where we think this team could be, whether by the week one or the end of the regular season. But I also think for UNC fans, for them to consider a successful season, they're going to have to see them get a big win over a team like NC State, who they seem to have not beaten, lost 4 in a row, or a Clemson, a TCU, or a UCF. And now with Manny Diaz at Duke, which he has them right where Mike Elko left off, a win against Duke, and a win over one of those 5 schools, and then them losing the rest of against the rest of those 4 would put them at that 8-4 record. And I think it just depends on how they go about it and the teams they beat on the way to getting to 8-4. And you mentioned TCU, tough home game. NC State said lost 4 in a row. Clemson is a really tough one, especially to open up ACC play. They do have some tough games at Syracuse. We've seen the Clemson teams that lose at Syracuse, and then playing at Cal. Granted, it's not the same roster, but UNC played at Cal probably at this point 7 or so years ago, and then they lost.
What about? But let me ask you this, because I get what you're saying, and I want to jump in because I want to get this from you.
Yeah,
you've got this mostly NFL staff. Mm-hmm. You've got this NFL coach. We know the schedule. We got a fair idea of the personnel. Him with this schedule, I think the mission, how he views 26 and 27, is very much a part of factoring into what we would say is a fair expectation for 26. If this is or 25, this is a one and done. If he's secretly saying, I'm in this 1 year, go get an NFL job or leave. You leave because I just don't want to coach anymore, but I want to win big and go out on top and prove it and thumb my nose at people, or I'm just not into it. If it's that I'm just not into it, then all bets are off.
Yep.
If it's I'm going to thumb my nose at the world, I'm going to go in there and coach 1 year here, and I'm going to dominate, and I'm going to win big and show everybody and ride off in the sunset, then I think more than 8 wins. If you get Bill Belichick for a full 12 months to build a football team, to compete in the ACC, against this non-conference schedule, and he's just got 1 year. A fair expectation to me, minimum 10 wins because of who he is. Mm-hmm. You got Clemson on there. I don't think anybody should expect them to beat them right now. Now, we see a month of football, maybe that's different. There's nobody else in that schedule the personnel on this roster shouldn't be able to beat. And if you got Bill Belichick and that staff with their ears pinned back, hell-bent on making it work, then I think 10 wins is reasonable. If you're looking at the 3 to 5 year plan, then there's more of a layering foundation.
Yep.
And that is what opens the door for an 8-4. So to you, how do you process this in terms of 1 year, 3 years and beyond? What would you say are fair expectations in those scenarios?
I think for the 3 to 5 year plan, that 8-4 record is absolutely kind of where you're looking at for a fair assessment and a fair expectation. But I do agree. I want to say you are right when it comes to 10 wins if you're squeezing the last drop out of this opportunity. But you have to think, if this is a one season, if that is where to be, hypothetically speaking, of course, and with the NFL players they have on staff, what they're hoping to accomplish, whether it be we know the roster. Point is, we know the roster for the most part. Double-digit wins has to be the kind of, I will say expectation, but I think that if this is the one season you have to win a bowl game, that's something UNC has not been able to do. If you want to say you really have done something or won something at the college level, I think UNC has to win.
What kind of bowl game? I mean, they're going to win a bowl game in a baseball stadium or win a bowl game in a football stadium?
Yeah. And I think that's a meaningful bowl game.
Give us a number. Give us a number.
Yeah.
I'm putting you on the spot. If it's one season, go for broke, I'm going to show the world I'm Bill Belichick, screw everybody else. What is it?
I say 10 wins in the regular season. So I would say 11. 10 regular season wins plus a bowl game win. I would not look at it the same if the 10 wins, if that 10th win comes in the bowl game.
Ooh.
I mean, if you're, and this is, to be quite honest, if you are going to take every last drop they have out of this, and you are the greatest coach of all time, and you want to do with this NFL staff, if this is the end all be all for you at the college level, I do not think 11 wins, like that would be what you would want to get out of it. Because plenty of teams are going to
go. They're paying for it. They're paying for 12 wins. They're paying for a spot in the ACC Championship. They're paying for 11-1 rematch with Clemson. That's what they're paying for. Should they expect that? I don't know. I don't think right now, but honestly, you're paying for it. Mm-hmm. Let's say there is the 3 to 5 year plan. In year 3, the way you could flip rosters now, I think it's a fair expectation. You're paying for it. You're North Carolina. Larry Fedora got you to an ACC title game. He was a recovered onside kick away from maybe being a 4-team CFP. Mm-hmm. Mac Brown got you to a CFP or to an ACC championship game.
And New Year's Six Bowl.
Okay, New Year's Six Bowl, the first New Year's Six Bowl in 71 years. So you're Bill Belichick. He's not Larry. I mean, Mac might be a better college coach than Belichick. We don't know. But he's still Bill Belichick. He's still got that staff. They are carrying themselves like they are it. Look, the whole compilation, invented the wheel, right? Mm-hmm. So you got to produce. You're getting paid to produce. So I think within year 3, absolutely. ACC championship within 3 years is a fair expectation. It's a fair demand by Bubba Cunningham and Lee Roberts and the powers that be. 5 years, yeah, if you win the ACC, you're going to be in the CFP. 5 years, you must be a national title contender for the money they're spending, for everything that they have said that that you can do at this program. Belichick is not going to go here if he doesn't think you can win there. Could have gone a lot of places. If he was an interloper and just needed a place to coach, could have gone a lot of places. But he wanted to go somewhere he could win. He wanted to go somewhere that was appealing. And he's really kind of got these connections back to when he was an assistant with the Giants and they had LT and there were other guys. There were so many guys that were scouted back then that played in the NFL from those Carolina teams. That's what he sees. And that's what he thinks it can be. There was a missed opportunity. I bet you if you had a conversation with him, and I've had this conversation with Mac Brown before, the Kelvin Bryant injury in 1981 changed North Carolina football. If he doesn't get injured against Georgia Tech, Carolina plays that big game against Clemson and wins, it's Carolina playing Nebraska in the Orange Bowl with a chance to win a national title in 81, not Clemson. So if that happens,
what happens from there?
If that happens, how does North Carolina football different now? Belichick, was scouring UNC football back in the day. It gave him LT. The two of them propped each other up into immortality. So he views things that way. That's one of the reasons he's there. So I think the expectations should be what his are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's got a number on this year, but he wants to win a championship. I think by year 3, ACC championship. By year 5, you should, maybe sooner than that, you should have a team out there that can win a national championship. Carolina is paying for it. They made the investment. You've got a head coach who says it's the only mission. You got Michael Lombardi. That's the only job. So I think that's a fair expectation.
Yep, I absolutely agree, especially with that time on it. It's a fair expectation. But we want to know, what do you guys out there, is that a fair expectation? Do we right? Are we wrong? What do you think is a fair expectation for year 1 under Bill Belichick? And for the 3 to 5 year plan, where do you hope to see UNC down the line, whether it's ACC title, competing for a national championship, or reaching the college football playoff? Let us know what you think. Leave us a comment. Do not forget to like and subscribe. And we love to hear from you guys. But for now, I'm Bryant. He's AJ, and we will see you guys next time.